Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. N. Ramadevi, lecturer in Political Science, Government Degree College, Agraharam, Rajanna Silsila district. In this video, I am going to explain about sovereignty and challenges to sovereignty. This topic is covered for BA first semester students. In this video, I am presenting the following topics, that is introduction and introduction about sovereignty and origin of the sovereignty, definitions of sovereignty and characteristics of sovereignty, kinds of sovereignty and theories of sovereignty, and also challenges to sovereignty and conclusion. First of all, I would like to explain the introduction of sovereignty. The concept sovereignty became the main idea of modern political science. The word sovereignty is derived from the Latin word superanus, which means supremacy or superior power. Sovereignty is, in essence, about the power to make laws and the ability to rule effectively. It is one of the most written about political concept and has been discussed, debated, and questioned throughout the history. Origin of the term sovereignty. Although the term sovereignty is modern, the idea goes back to Aristotle, who spoke of the supreme power of the state, and the jurists and the civilians throughout the Middle Ages likewise had the idea, for they frequently employed the terms summa potestas and plenitudo potestatis, by which to designate the supreme power of the state. The modern terms sovereign and sovereignty were first used by the French jurists in the 15th century. Jean Bodin in the 16th century was the first writer to discuss the length in his 6 books on the Republic, the nature and characteristics of sovereignty. Originally conceived as a personal attribute of the monarch, sovereignty came in the hands of Bodin to be regarded as a constituent element of the state. Niccolo Machiavelli, Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, and Montesquieu are also key figures in unfolding the concept of sovereignty. There are some definitions about sovereignty. According to Jean Bodin, who was the first writer to employ the term, defined it as the supreme power of the state over citizens and subjects unrestrained by laws. According to Hugo Grotius, who wrote half a century later, defined it as the supreme political power vested in him whose acts are not subject to any other and whose will cannot be overridden. According to Jelinek, defined it as that characteristic of the state by virtue of which it cannot be legally bound except by its own will or limited by any other power than itself. And according to Duguid says that sovereignty, accordingly to the dominant theory in France, is the commanding power of the state. It is the will of the nation organized in the state. It is the right to give unconditional orders to all individuals in the territory of the state. Burgess, another thinker, characterizes it as original, absolute, ultimate power over the individual subject and all associations of objects. Again, he calls it the underived and independent power to command and compel obedience. There are some characters to sovereignty. Now I am going to explain the characteristics of sovereignty. Permanence is the chief characteristic of sovereignty. Sovereignty lasts as long as an independent state lasts. The death of the king, the overthrow of the government does not affect sovereignty. Dr. Garner has beautifully summed up this idea. Sovereignty does not cease with the death or temporary disposition of a particular bearer or the reorganization of the state, but shifts immediately to a new bearer as the center of gravity shifts from one part of physical body to another when it undergoes external change. Now I am discussing about another character, universality. The state is all comprehensive and the sovereign power is universally applicable. No association or group of individuals, however rich or powerful in it may be, can resist or disobey the sovereign authority. Every There are some criticisms on monistic theory of sovereignty. Austin's theory has been criticized on many grounds. Um, some of the criticisms as follows. This theory is inconsistent with the present day popular sovereignty, a doctrine which lies at the basis of modern democratic state, and it ignores the power of public opinion and political sovereignty, and it ignores the great body of customary law which has grown up through usages and interpretations, and which never had its source in the will of determinate superior. And force is not only sanction of behind laws, and this theory makes the sovereign completely absolute. Uh, According to pluralistic theory of sovereignty, uh, the chief exponents of this pluralistic theory of sovereignty are Dugit Herald, J. Lasky, J.N. Fix, Ernest Barker, Mac Ivor are the exponents of pluralism. According to the pluralist, sovereignty resides not within the state, but it resides with many other institutions. Sovereignty is possessed by many associations. It is not individual unit. The state is not supreme or unlimited. Pluralist argues that state is not only the supreme institution and no single source of authority. Sovereignty is not indivisible and exclusive, they also argued. Uh, there is also criticism on pluralistic theory, that is, the state is needed to control various types of institutions existing in society. It is the sovereign state that brings about unity and regulates all the associations existing in society. And if sovereignty is divided among the various associations existing in society, the division will lead to the destruction of sovereignty. And another criticism is it is mere an illusion that and not a reality that other associations are equal in status to the state, and state is needed for protecting people from the excess of associations. There are some challenges to sovereignty. Uh, the idea that nation states are able to be sovereign has been the subject of serious challenge in recent years. Globalization continues to have an increasingly negative impact on the sovereign rights of individual nation states, and there are situations in which states have already accepted some constraints upon their freedom to conduct themselves as they please within their territories, and there exists a range of global institutions which appear to promote a particular international economic orthodoxy, and therefore allegedly um, force government to pursue particular pattern of policy. The capacity of national governments to manage their economics autonomously has been undermined by the evolution of world economy and the appearance of authoritative global institutions such as the International Monetary Fund, and nation states have become more independent and interdependent than ever before, and are constantly developing their relationships with each other by means of treaties. In the period from 1945 to 21st May 1996, the United Nations, to which all treaties should be notified, had registered no less than 32,516 treaties. Every such instrument affects, to a greater or lesser extent, the freedom of the parties to the treaty, uh, and this is how national sovereignty is comprised by international agreements. And sovereignty is also challenged at the doctrine level by powerful and persuasive ideas such as universal human rights declaration, such as the Council of Europe Convention for the Protection of Human Rights and Fundamental Freedoms, are uh, premised on the view that human rights transcend national boundaries, and that appropriate definitions of rights and freedoms are not the business of national authorities. The European Convention opens up the possibility that citizens can take their own governments to the European Court of Human Rights, and nation states still matter. They are the sources of power with which most people readily identify, and power becomes meaningful only in reference to sovereignty. Moreover, terms like community, obligation, legitimacy, authority, state government, and constitution all are integrated and made coherent by the concept of sovereignty. It is a unifying theory, not a simple description. It is a doctrine which deals with facts of political life and not fantasies. Thank you.